Hello everyone, welcome back to the TJOmega channel for day 1491 of our daily content grind. I have been in the mood to tier list, so we shall tier list today. And today we are talking about all of the collaborative series figures that we have thus far. Now, I want everyone to be aware, before we begin, this is strictly for the collaborative line, meaning the stuff released under Hasbro's umbrella name for all of these crossover toys that they have done. That means stuff like Takara's Evangelion releases, the recent Godzilla and Rathalos are not on this list. Frankly, we're probably going to revisit tier listing next week and just do all of Takara's crossover toys as just one big bunch. I feel like end of the year, getting close to the end of the year, is a good time to do this, though we're going to end off on a few that aren't released just yet, but we're going to put them in provisionally, just for the sake of completion. So, this is going to be in relative alphabetical order, which means we are starting with Agent Knight. This one is weird. This is a super weird one to start this list on. On one hand, it's super cool that it has the sounds and electronics. On the other hand, that's the reason why it's so much bigger than the standard figures. Like, it's way out of scale with everything else. And everything else is kind of based on generations, in which in modern times, they've tried to have a little bit of sense of scale between things. So it is weird to see such a gigantic car that's, as big as the Ecto-1. And then the figure itself, there is this divisive part of it where, yeah, it looks exactly like if Kit was a Transformer in the 80s and had a modern generations figure like a lot of modern Transformers are. It looks and has that feel, but that also kind of makes it a little bit boring and uninteresting compared to a lot of other collabs. So there's a lot of ways to view this one. I think I'm going to drop it up into premium, but I'll say it's probably going to be up in the lower end of it, because I do think this very much depends on your personal tastes, how good it turned out. It's good for what it is, though. Now, Balventron, on the other hand, the collaboratives that are just repaints are already a little bit sketchy. This one, letting a celebrity do it, is even weirder. I'm just going to flat out say this is going to be one that's incredibly divisive. It's absolutely going to be depending on your personal taste. Me, I hate this thing. I hate it. I'm not going to put it down to flea market level. I'm going to, at the very least, put it in bargain bin, just because I understand it's the man's aesthetic and art style, and that's fine. For fans, that's going to be exactly what you want out of it. So that's perfectly okay. But at some point, you have to look at the colors you're putting on this toy, and you have to think to yourself, this just looks like a cheap Chinese knockoff now. So I can't get behind this one. I just can't. I can't. I'm sorry, I can't. But on the other hand, if we're looking at repaint collaboratives, this is a weird one because this was originally a weird Takara crossover, but it came out in America as Target exclusives later on and was retroactively changed to be a collaborative set. These are the Street Fighter toys. So we have M. Bison, basically Megatron cosplaying as M. Bison. There's no remolding to any of the Street Fighter figures. It's literally just all paint. And we've seen Takara do that on several of their crossover toys. That's generally how they prefer to do things. No extra molding unless they have to. Hence why we have things like the Godzilla that no one really liked. But that said, this kind of works in a weird way. I think it's a fun mashup. It weirdly works for me. Aside from the fact the toy itself is really, really good. And I think it works really, really well for Bison. Like, there's just something about it that fits, Like, it's not as forced in as the others are. But even then, like, there's something that I can appreciate just how crammed in they are, if that makes any sense. All right, so let's start talking about Blue Booster. Sonic the Hedgehog as a Transformer. This is a crazy collab to exist. And there's part of me that, like, I really want this toy to do well. It looks like it's doing well. Like, it's the first time in a long time I have seen my target, my usual target, sell through stock and restock a Transformer set. And considering these are solid case figures, that's saying something. So it's doing well, apparently. I mean, if there's one universal I have learned working a toy shop, it's that Sonic toys always sell. Like, they defy literally every other constant in toy collecting. And they do all the things you're not supposed to do, like constantly re-release the same figures over and over. But it always sells. So there you go. But for me, it's okay. I meant to do a review of this 2-pack a while back and just never really got the time to do it. I might still do it. It's not completely ice cold yet. But for me, it's just meh. Like Sonic is decidedly okay as a figure. Nothing special, nothing great. I think it's not leaning enough into the Sonic vibes, if that's anything. Just, I don't know. It's not hitting me the right way, and I don't think the engineering on it's all that great. So there's the take. Okay, RC cosplaying as Chun-Li. This is one that just amuses me. Again, there's something about the Street Fighter ones that have this like weird like charm to them, and I give them a little bit of extra points for that. I don't think it fits in as well, but I'm probably going to keep her higher up this list in the retail release section. I gotta put her there just because like it's an okay toy mold, but weirdly enough, like RC's like hair, like her side helmet things that were inspired by Princess Leia also make for just really good Chun-Li like hair buns. It's a funny one. It's a funny one. It oddly works. Okay, now we need to talk about Code Red. So I'm going to be very upfront about this one. I'm not that big on Stranger Things. I will be completely honest with you and say I haven't watched Stranger Things. I know it's 80s nostalgia. It's up my alley with the D&D focus, stuff in it and all that. I just don't know. I can't get up enough interest to even bother. So that's just like, I'm just kind of stuck in that road of like, yeah, I really don't want to. But I got the van. I got Code Red because everyone talked this thing up. Like, I remember people saying, well, they finally figured out how to make a good deluxe Ironhide, I guess. Okay, so if everyone's all about it, let me go check it out. It's here. I'm in the mood for something new. Let me buy it. It is, again, okay. I get a common question on my monthly Q&As. And one of them is like, well, what toy did you get that was so hyped up and you just kind of found was like, meh? And sometimes my answer is Skyhammer from Dark of the Moon. My other answer is this one. Everyone hyped up Code Red. I don't think Code Red's all that great. I'll put him in retail release because it's still an okay figure. And I understand if I knew all the little references that got crammed into this toy, because there are a ton, I would appreciate it more. So I'm going to put it up to retail release because of that. There's obvious effort and love and attention put into the collab. It's just not for me. Now, let's get into our first of the Jurassic Parks. So this is Dilophoncon. I really wish the Jurassic Park ones had better names. That's always been my biggest grievance with them, is like the names on the Jurassic Park collabs kind of suck. The toys, on the other hand, do pretty well. This one is pretty simple, admittedly, but it's a nice figure all around. The deco on it looks really cool. This one is like, I don't want to put it too high because, like I said, it's a very simple deluxe figure. It's not doing a whole lot of craziness. It's got a very, like, Beast Wars Dinobot level of transformation. Maybe a little bit simpler, even. So it's not crazy, but it looks really cool and functions really cool. I'm not sure if I should put it, like, bottom of premium or top of retail. We'll leave it top of retail for now. That's just because it's a smallish figure that's a little simple. But otherwise, yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good. Not gonna lie. For runner-up in a box set, it's pretty good. Okay, Draculus. And I think this is the one that came out of nowhere for everybody. Like, what do you mean they're doing Universal Monsters? Since when? Now, remember, like, one of the pitches from Takara back in the day during G1 was to actually do a run of Universal Monster-inspired Transformers, which would have included a Dracula bat. It's one of those like weird, like it only got into like the design sketch phase. Just as like a weird little, and it pops up as like a weird little random trivia bit. But we know it. So this is like a weird way of like finally making that concept happen. Of course, it's the mind wipe mold, so it turns into a bat. Great. But it also has a lot of extra love and attention to it because they've remolded it so it could actually not require the headmaster feature. They added the soft cape. They added the box, which is based on old VHS case. Like, okay, like there's actual like really good attention here. I kind of want to put this up to premium. It's a really clever idea, you know. It's one of those. I kind of wish there was more of this. We've only got one more to talk about, and it seems like a shame. All right. Now we get into the big boys. Ectotron, the very first of the official Transformer collaborative line. This is just one of those, like, perfect options, right? You know, because you're getting an iconic 80s vehicle as an actual Transformers toy. And not just like, oh, well, it's, you know, it's Perceptor or whoever makes sense to be a Ghostbuster. No. It's a brand new character. It's as if the Ecto-1 was in G1, and that's the great thing about it. You know, can't even tell it's based on the Onslaught mold, can you? So, yeah, I think this goes without saying. It's going up to Holy Grail tier. I love that it's got so many accessories going on. I love that all of the junk on the top transforms into his proton pack and, you know, neutrino wand. That's all great that it's so integrated into him. And it's just super cool, right? It's an Ecto-1 that transforms. You can't get better than that. Well, we'll see. We still have plenty to go. So, Xpants. This is weird. So it's based off of Studio Series Jetfire, which makes this a lot more complex than a lot of the others to transform. Unpleasantly so, in my opinion. I don't think this is a fun figure to transform. And I think that's kind of what hurts it, because everything else is kind of spot on. Like, retro 90s style packaging for the toy itself, that's cool. You know, the little minifigures of Sabretooth and Wolverine, random, but okay. You know, and it's based on the 90s Blackbird, you know, the one you saw in the cartoon. That's great. It's, you know, it's a perfect little idea. I feel like it starts trying too hard. Whereas a lot of this feels like new characters based on like the overall idea. You know, like Ectotron just feels like another Ghostbuster, but he doesn't feel like Ray. He doesn't feel like Egon or anything like that. He just feels like a Ghostbuster character. Whereas Xpants is trying to be a little bit Wolverine, a little bit Cyclops, and like I feel like he's just trying too hard to fit in. He doesn't have his own identity. You know, he just kind of comes across as X-Men the Robot. That puts him down. That puts him down for me. Between that and the complexity. Yeah, I feel like this one just didn't have the attention it needed. I'm being harsh to the Sonic one at this point by putting Xpants above him. I don't know. We might reevaluate this once it's all together. We might reevaluate this and see where my brain is at then. Okay, here is our other universal monster in existence. This is Frankenron, and now, because this is a really good mold to start off with, the toy itself is really, really good. It is not as clean of a fit as Dracula is, because obviously Frankenstein doesn't turn into anything like Dracula does. So the tank kind of makes sense, other than like Frankenstein's monster wasn't really violent, per se. So it is a little bit aggressive of a vehicle for him. I don't know, like, I think the best move and the ironic move would have been to have made him an Inferno retool, because then he's a fire truck, and he can put out fires. That seems perfect for him. Also, that would have meant he was much larger than Dracula, which I think would have been far more appropriate. I will say, I do like the kind of the torn, kind of zombie-esque aesthetic that they came up with for the retooled parts. I really like the fact that they tooled his hands to be down like this. so he could do the Frankenstein walk thing. Like, okay, that's good. That's good. Like I'm gonna put him right behind Dracula, like because Dracula just fits his mold so well. I feel like he has to be a little bit above. But Frankentron's fun. Frankentron's a lot of fun. Okay, now we're getting into the little partner figures again. So this is Gamakichi from the Naruto crossover. Wild that we're starting to get anime crossovers with this stuff too. Like that opens up so many possibilities. This is again a kind of a simple mold. It doesn't really have to do anything crazy. It's essentially a modern slapper mold. And that's kind of weird that this mold has never been like retooled into Slapper. I know it's not exactly the hottest Beast Wars character to make, but you know, we've got things like there's a Predacon multi-pack coming out according to listing leaks. That would be super cool if you just randomly throw in Slapper based on this mold, you know, like just have fun with it, you know? We've got the Beast Wars anniversary coming up next year. Do something stupid like that. That'd be great. But I can't put him too high because he's got, you know, he is just a basic figure, but he's doing his job pretty well. I think I like him a little bit better than Dilophoncon, so I'm gonna put him just at the top of retail for now. And we will see where he ends up. All right, we are on to the other part of the Ghostbusters collab. This is the Masterpiece Optimus repainted in Ghostbuster colors. This is Takara's idea, I think. I think they started this idea, but I actually can't remember at this point. Point is, it is under the Hasbro umbrella, so Hasbro is Hasbro's responsible for this one. I'm not big on this one. No, like this is again just kind of feels like a little bit forced. I feel like this one's lazy. I feel like this one's kind of lazy. It's cool. Now, don't get me wrong. There is a comic book that actually includes Optimus looking like this. Understand the comic book is made after the toy, so they could just retroactively come up with an explanation for it, which helps, but it's still like the original concept is just kind of like, here's Optimus Prime. Oh, he's a Ghostbuster truck now. And that kind of thing always kind of bugs me. Like if I go to Target right now, I can find the Jada Toys Ecto-1 in Autobot colors. I'm like, I don't know. This kind of feels like an 80s character costume, which was basically just a plastic mask and a smock that didn't look like the character you were in a costume as. It just looked like a billboard advertisement for Masters of the Universe and some things like that. So I'm gonna be mean to this one. I'm going to be mean to this one because, like, okay, it is what it is, but I do feel like it's just an excuse to make MP10 again. You know, it's not my personal thing. This is again where we're getting to personal tastes. Our first of the G.I. Joes, and thanks to the way I listed these, we are going to be looking at all the G.I. Joes all at once, starting with the Bumblebee. I think Bumblebee is something of an improvement over Megatron as far as the give and take of the crossover, but I also feel like Bumblebee is heavily flawed because he has to figure out what to do with those gigantic tires. And he doesn't figure out what to do with them at all. They just kind of hang there and get in the way of a lot. And he's also suffering from the thing that all of the G.I. Joe Transformers suffer from, which is they just feel cheap. For their size, they are genuinely meant for G.I. Joe collectors. And then the fact that they transform is almost incidental. You know, so they really don't come across as solid or as well designed as like what you would expect a Transformer to be. So Bumblebee, I'm kind of like top of bargain bin on him. So like I feel like he did the right thing in like letting more of the vehicle mode shine through in the robot mode instead of like forcing Bumblebee to be present. But at the same time, he just doesn't transform well. He's got way too much junk left over from the vehicle mode. Now, Cup, I know, did better. I only got to mess with Cup when someone brought one into the store to trade. But it's a neat figure. You know, it felt like they actually started figuring out what the identity of these should be. And this one feels like they had the most liberties with the design. You know, Cup's in like olive green, like he is not conforming to his normal aesthetic at all, and that's good. It's actually good because he actually gets to just kind of be his own thing, and it's still Cup. It just transforms into a GI Joe thing. So this one's improved. I heard, you know, like from all, you know, like he's like the most improved of all of them, but he still suffers a lot of that GI Joe crossover weirdness that kind of got to me. Now, what about the Megatron? So this is where a lot of my grievance with this crossover and collab series kind of draws from. There was such an insistence that Megatron looked like G1 Megatron in the robot mode that I genuinely think it made the whole thing suffer. Again, if you're a G.I. Joe collector and you just wanted a hiss tank that did a cool thing, then yeah, this toy is absolutely perfect for you. But it's marketed as a Transformer as well. And as a Transformer, especially as Transformer fans who have always wanted crossovers with G.I. Joes, it's lame. It's kind of lame. Because the toy could have been way cleaner and not had nearly as much junk hanging off of it if they were just willing to let Megatron be black instead of forcing the G1 design and G1 color scheme into the robot as much as they did. I feel like there's just brute force going into this one, and it's to its detriment. It still looks fine. I will put it low end of retail release just because, you know, well, maybe one higher. I think I like Megatron better than Xpants somehow. But I'm figure like I figure like yeah, I'm putting it that high just because G.I. Joe collectors got something really good out of it. And then there's the Soundwave. I will admit I have the least experience with the Soundwave. Aesthetically, I think it's the best one. Probably because it's the only one whose vehicle matches his normal colors. So like the Thunder Machine works really well as Soundwave. Good. Okay, that made sense. As a package, he does come with more of the 3 3/4 inch figures. That's good again. But he still comes with that cheapness. Like I feel like he's better coordinated, better crafted than the others, but he still comes with that cheapness that those larger figures came with. These were not cheap by any means, but they felt it. I feel like because they had so much to do, they cheaped out in a few other places, and it just kind of hurt the toys overall. So there you go. Those are the G.I. Joes. Never got any more than that, which is weird. Like we don't even have an Optimus representing in that line. We don't have a Starscream, which seems like the most obvious thing, doesn't it? They all turn into jets. Just make a big Starscream. All right. Gigawatt. And I pronounce it Gigawatt because it's Back to the Future. That's how they pronounce it. And I feel like pronouncing it differently gives it him himself more identity than rather just naming him after like a measurement of electricity. But yeah, again, just like Ecto 1, this is absolutely perfect. Like 10 out of 10, no notes. It's exactly what it should be. You know, it's, again, it feels like an update to a toy that would have come out in the 80s. It feels like everything I wanted out of it is there. The flux capacitor is there. Mr. Fusion is there. The flight mode is there. The pole to catch the lightning bolt is there. Like, they did everything to make this as good of a collaborative toy as possible. There's a reason it's getting re-released. It's just that good. It's just that good. In fact, I like it better than Ectotron. Ectotron's great. Ectotron's absolutely great. But yeah, it's everything. I think even more so than the Ecto 1. I think we wanted a transforming time machine way more. I feel like that is like the vehicle everyone always wanted to see as a Transformer. So they got it out really, really early. It's like the third collab they ever did. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. All right, now back to the Jurassic Park guys. This is JP93. which is just making me realize that one of them was left off. I'm gonna cut to correct that. I don't know how I missed him, but we'll do JP93 now, and I will say this feels like a deluxe Red Alert. Like it feels like this could have been in another life, just an Armada Red Alert. The toy itself is nice, like surprisingly so. Surprisingly so. Like, just as like a standard figure, I think this is one of the more solid of the collaborative pieces. To the point where, like, yeah, like I'm starting to think of like, well, what else could he be? Like, what other like normal Transformers could we retool him into? Because I wouldn't mind getting this toy again. I wouldn't mind this being outside of an expensive multi-pack, so more people could get their hands on it. Yeah, I would put him pretty high, honestly. I think I'd put him pretty high. I think I have more fun with Frankenron, just because like there's more character to that. Yeah, but JP93, despite terribly being named, yeah, iconic vehicle, really solid Transformer, just really good overall. And now really quick, let's also deal with JP92, the second of the vehicular Jurassic Parks. I didn't like this one as much. Like I feel like this one is like prototype for an Earth mode Hound that they realized wasn't good enough, but they didn't want to. They didn't want the R&D to go to waste. So here you go, Jurassic Park set. Yeah, he's there-ish. I feel like he gets away with it because his accessories make him a lot more fun. Like okay, he comes with a shaving cream can. All right, I see what you're. Okay, fine. I'll give him a little bit of credit. He just doesn't come off nearly as good. He's just not nearly as good of a figure as 95 is. All right, now that we've corrected that mistake, let us move on to the next of the Street Fighters, and the final one. This is Ken as Hot Rod. It's still hysterical to me that this is how we actually got the Takara version of Hot Rod with the flippable chest. And it just has to be Ken Masters' chest now. So, it's a funny mold. I think weirdly enough, it suits him more than like Ryu suits Optimus, the Optimus Prime mold. Like, that's fun. Oh, which we do still have coming up. Okay, I missed him. Don't worry, we're getting him too. But no, like personality wise, this one fits because it's Ken Masters. It's rich boy who also wants to show off as a martial artist. Look at Hot Rod. He's a concept car, which is, be like millions of dollars into that machine as a real world vehicle. And yeah, show off. All right, Ken is a perfect analog. And then yeah, it just works. This is the one where it gets a little bit weird because they printed the Street Fighter logo on the spoiler, which is a little odd. But overall, I think I like this one a lot. It just has to do with the fact that I think the toy is really good. And it just happens to weirdly work. Even Hot Rod's head crest being Ken's big dumb eyebrows is hysterical. It's hysterical. Like, again, there's almost the Chun-Li thing of like, this is so forced in, I'm beginning to appreciate it. All right, moving on. We are looking at Kurama, the retool of Kingdom Cheetor into a nine-tailed fox. Can you believe this is the first fox transformer we've ever had, and it's the Naruto collab? Man, like, shout out to foxes out there. You are not respected enough. As someone who D&D'd a character who was actually a fox in a previous life, like, you more respect to the foxes, right? So the toy itself is actually pretty good. The nine tails, as you would expect, do get in the way a lot of the leg articulation because they basically have nowhere to go in the robot mode except to just hang around. I do like the mold overall. The retooling still looks pretty good. You get the Naruto aspect in there. Like, if you're a Naruto fan, it's a perfect little toy because like it just looks like Kurama in beast mode, and then yeah, you can turn into some weird form of Naruto in robot mode. So yeah, this one works. This is another one that I picked up just because like I'm in the mood for something, and nothing looks great. But okay, okay, this is here. I might as well grab it. Only time I ever saw it at retail, by the way. And I'm not huge on Naruto, but at the same time, I really liked the toy, so I guess it's doing its job. I don't know if I like it well enough to go like up to premium price, but I'll put it above his partner. I'll do that. All right, the Mandalorian. Now, again, one that I don't have as much experience with as I would like, because it looks so much better than the Star Wars crossovers that we used to get. We used to get the ones that Hasbro made, which were kind of junky, and then we had the one Takara made of Darth Vader, and they did their own Millennium Falcon as well. Those were notably better, still a little bit clunky. This just seems spot on. Like the N1 Starfighter looks really, really good. It has like the functions you would want it to, even though there's like no Grogu, his capsule still opens up. So 3D printers, get ready. You will be able to complete this toy. And then, yeah, the robot mode's spot on. And I love that they came up with a flight stand that has so many extra uses, like the fact that it can break down into a cape and a shield for him. That's clever. That's really clever. This one is just dead solid all around. I am probably, yeah, I think I put him to top of premium. And if I had more experience to like really get to know the figure better, I would probably put him in Holy Grail tier. But because my experience with the toy is so short, I don't really want to jump to that. You know, I want to keep that to toys that I absolutely know deserve to be there. This toy does not deserve to be there. The best thing about Maverick is that he came with a volleyball. And then the re-release stripped the volleyball. What are you doing? How can you fail like this? So, Maverick is, I don't know, like, kind of what it feels like if a modern Transformer engineer tried to do a GoBot. Maverick is like what happens when someone phones in a Seeker design. Like, because it comes across as though they need to make him the fighter jet from Top Gun, but they don't want him to just be a Seeker. What do we do? Okay, make him kind of like a Seeker, but kind of trash. You know, like kind of just uninspired, kind of boring, generic looking. Like make him look like a background robot in a comic book that no one ever gave a name to. Make him look like one of the parody robots you'd see like in the back of a cartoon when it's supposed to be a Transformer in the back, but legally it can't be a Transformer in the back. It has that vibe to it. And like it just never really did anything for me. I don't know. It just seemed like it was trying, I don't know, trying to get a Transformer into something that I don't really think needed to be a Transformer. And then there's that other side of that token of like, you've transformed so many 80s fighter jets. Why? Why did this one come out so much worse? How did you screw it up? Don't know. Don't know. All right, on to better topics, on to better things. Next up is Party Wallop. And the worst thing about this toy is the name, right? I think we can kind of universally agree the name on this toy sucks and everything else is literally the best. So it's the Party Wagon for the Ninja Turtles. You've already won. There's a hidden pizza on the toy. Perfect. You can keep the original normal like default head on and keep the front of the party van right there so that he has the look of a new character, or you can take that off, swap on a headband, rotate the little logo in his belt, and make him any of the 4 Ninja Turtles. And all of the Ninja Turtle weapons are included on this toy, and all of them can stash and hide somewhere in the kibble on Party Wallop. This is perfect. Again, this is everything I wanted a Ninja Turtle collab to be. To the point where I'm now upset that the mutant module has not been turned into a shredder by now. Where is my shredder mutant module? This seems easy. Yeah, jeez. So here's the thing. I think as a collab project, I think Gigawatt is exactly everything it needed to be. It's perfect. It's everything is right. The only reason I'm putting Party Wallop one step ahead is play factor and that ability to switch between the turtles. I will admit Gigawatt's cleaner, but man, does Party Wallop use it well. And yeah, it's just versatile, incredibly versatile. There's a reason why I'm one of the idiots who bought 4 of them right off the bat, so I can have all 4 Ninja Turtles as Transformers. Do not regret it. Do not regret it. I regret a lot of my stupid purchases. I've made many stupid purchases. That is not one of the ones I regret. Absolutely amazing piece. Okay, now we can talk about Ryu. Now we really are closing off the Street Fighter toys. And this one, again, as I mentioned before, feels forced. The shapes, especially the head shape of Megatron, can lend itself to the shape of M. Bison to an extent. Whereas this really does force Ryu into Optimus Prime. Like the faceplate for Prime kills it. Trying to paint the headband in there kind of kills it. And really, like, Ryu transforming into a jumbo jet and an oil tanker, man, it really is just because it's Optimus Prime. Like, that's literally the only reason why Ryu is Optimus Prime. I would accept this as Akuma before I would accept this as Ryu. Like, it feels very unnatural. Ryu, I'm gonna be honest with you here. Ryu, I feel like might have worked better as like an Alpha Trion retool, because I feel like having a wild animal alt mode would have suited Ryu better. And then he still has a spaceship mode, so he can still travel the world as well, which is, again, a Ryu thing. This one's a little bit forced in. I'm going to put it... Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it just below Chun-Li, because I think Chun-Li is a far better usage of the mold, and I think it fits far more cleverly. But the Prime has more playability as the triple changer. I will give him that much credit. But we also have to judge the fit. We have to judge the concept and the execution of the collab along with the quality of the toy. Meaning, I have to knock Optimus and Ryu a few points here. Okay, now we're getting into it. So this is Tonkinator. And in doing the research in this video, just learned that the individual robots have individual names. They all sound like really cheap names that would be like printed on the box if this was a cheap Chinese knockoff. And that's what I keep thinking every time I look at it. It looks like a cheap Chinese knockoff between the gray of the combiner parts, the generic yellow. Yeah, like it just looks like a knockoff set of Devastator. Because there's really no effort put into this. It is literally just a yellow Devastator with Tonka printed on a few parts of him. That's it. That's it. You know, it's no different than like getting a Chinese knockoff Transformer and just finding like weird like army decals and weird words just randomly printed on the toy. You know, it's that vibe. You know, and every time I saw it, I was like, why isn't this just a set of why isn't this just G2 Devastator? Why isn't this just G2 Devastator? I know all it has to be for this collab is just be yellow construction vehicles, and anyone nostalgic for Tonka toys is going to love this. I think it's incredibly wasted effort. At the very bare minimum, could you give me some new heads? At the very basic minimum, could you at least give me new heads so I can at least pretend like these aren't Constructicons playing dress up? Just, that's all I ask for. Just like that slight bit of effort to make me feel like this is something new and different. You failed me. You failed me here. Does not work. Does not work. I cannot tell you how many times I saw that thing on clearance, because it was way overpriced for what it was to begin with. And then even in clearance took forever to sell. All right. See, okay, we are pretty far down the list. Only a few more to go. Let's keep going. Tyrannocon Rex. She, by the way, so, because this is based on Rexy. This is based on the T-Rex from Jurassic Park, which is a female T-Rex. Now, robot mode, I will admit, is a little bit dull. I'm glad they threw in a new head at least, but it is still very much Megatron's body. Bright red deco is a little bit odd, but it's fine. Nothing terribly impressive with the robot mode. Beast mode, this thing sings. Because it has that look of like a classic Jurassic Park toy. Like it looks like they did everything they could to make Kingdom Megatron look like the T-Rex from the movie. And in that, I have to give it a lot more credit. Because it's literally recreating, one of the most iconic visuals in movies. So she goes very high up. See, as a toy, I don't want to put it above JP95 because, or is it JP93? JP93. I don't want to put it above JP93 because that just makes for such a really good Transformer on its own. And Kingdom Megatron's good. Kingdom Megatron is good, but it's not as fun to mess with just because it's a lot of kibble. But yeah, like it's that beast mode. The beast mode is where that just like screams. It screams real good. Here's a really weird one. So this is the Volvo Optimus Prime. And this is not supposed to be here. This is not supposed to be here because it's just a plain old Optimus Prime. It just happens to turn into like a modern Volvo semi-truck. So the idea was that they were going to be doing, according to listings, they were going to be doing an Amazon Prime Optimus Prime. And they were going to have that joke be like the basis for a toy and be an Amazon exclusive. For whatever reason, that deal fell through. So they needed to just throw this together into whatever package they could. That's why you got the Christmas release. And now we had the generic ones, just normal color Optimus Prime. And that's fine. It's well and good. And the toy itself is fine. Being a collaborative toy, though. Remember, I have to judge this on being a collaborative toy. Volvo as a collaborative partner absolutely sucks. It's not like anyone's got a like nostalgia or deep love for Volvo of all things. So here's the weird thing. Similar to Masterpiece Prime, I have to put it in the bargain bin because if I'm judging based on collab interest, there's barely any. It doesn't feel forced like in the Optimus, the Ghostbusters Optimus Prime, but it does feel like it doesn't belong. It just kind of feels arbitrary. It just feels like it's just there as an excuse to exist. So he's going to be low just because the concept is so low, and I really wish they could have found like some other way of using this that made sense. Blech. Volvo concept, Volvo crossovers. And now the last of the ones that are actually out right now, this is Wingtail. So I was planning to review that 2-pack of Sonic and Tails. I was planning to review that collaborative set. The reason I didn't is because this Tails is so freaking awful to transform. I have no fun whatsoever messing around with this toy. Once it's in robot mode, the tails and the wings are a mess. The wings, by the way, are just, a lot of the wings are just held on and held together by 5mm posts. Not hinges or proper swivels. There's just a lot of things that could literally just come apart. Even things that really shouldn't come apart can come apart. Like he's almost a weaponizer in how many things are just held on by 5mm ports. And you have like a really messy robot mode as a result. Like the backsides of the plane becoming 2 tails makes sense until you realize the tails are terribly placed and have no way of getting out of the way for poses, so that makes him a mess. And he's taller than Sonic. That is immediately going to do you in. I am not going to put it all the way to flea market because I don't think it's as bad as a concept of Tonkinator. I think it's a bad toy. I think it's a very bad toy. You're free to disagree. But this is just my opinion. My opinion, so I really do not like that piece. I am sorry, Sonic fans. I am a Sonic fan, and I hate that toy. Okay, now, this is basically the end of the list. We've basically categorized every single collaborative that Hasbro's released. However, we do still have 3 little stragglers here, and we're going to judge these very, very quickly, because these are not out yet. They are due out this year, so we're going to count them for the 2025, but this is just like a placeholder. This is just kind of like a thing. Now, so we'll start off with the NFL, and I'm not going to put each and every single one in its own category tier. I care little for your football, but I will admit, transforming into like a little helmet that's perfect to sit on a desk or on the front of a shelf of collectibles for your favorite team is absolutely perfect. Like, that's exactly what you would want a little Transformer NFL toy to do. So yeah, it's a good idea. I do think it looks a little bit shell formery, a little bit kibble heavy in the robot mode, but concept wise, yeah, pretty spot on. Pretty spot on. And having an entire collection of these in robot mode together, or even helmet mode together, are gonna look great for an NFL fan. So even though I'm not a personal fan of the NFL, I have no dogs in this fight, I have no allegiances whatsoever here, I'm gonna look at this objectively and just say, yeah, like, that's actually a really good piece for an NFL collector. Like that's good execution, good concept, and what looks like going to be a decent figure on top of that. So there we go. So let's get into the Hot Wheels ones to finish this off. Bone Shaker looks like it's going to be incredible. The design is absolutely insane. And yeah, like, no notes here. He looks like he's going to be really good. I don't know, like, there's a little bit of like questioning me like how this one is actually engineered and see how good that is, but yeah, I think I'm comfortable putting him like premium price range, and I think Twin Mill would probably end up the same way. I mean, barring any like massive QC problem or like complete engineering snafu, I don't think there's any way these toys are going to be necessarily bad. I think they are going to be very, very good pieces, both for Hot Wheel fans who get to have their, some of the iconic vehicles from that toy line in larger scale, which is very rare, but also for Transformer fans who really like those original designs and have always wanted them to turn into a robot. It's a win-win concept. The toys themselves look very, very good. I am confident putting them that high. We'll find out when they are released. Come back and see how accurate I was. And that is going to wrap it up. This actually went way longer than I expected it to because, well, we have a lot of crossovers to talk about. This is why I didn't throw in the Takara ones that technically aren't collaborative. Again, I'm going to round those up later on, and we're probably going to do something specifically for those. But for now, that is the list. Thank you very much for watching. Please feel free to tell me in the comments section below how wrong I am and how terrible my opinions and tastes in Transformers are. It is your right to do. Thank you, everyone. I will see you next time.
Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.